Alright fam, well it's time to engage. Moods are front and center, enter the stage. Mind, body and spirit to try synergy. Ask not like Kennedy, feel the energy. Jump as you live, try to give all positive vibes. Ignite your cognitive senses. The consensus, moods are stupendous, tremendous, and kicks like Juventus. Always on point, sharp like a knife, cutting through the bull, tame the strife of life. With no type of hype, don't like take a hike or roll the dice, grab the mic, connect like Skype. No need to save face, it's a safe space conducive to mental fitness, wellness inclusive. Chasing nirvana, elusive. Instead, shed the abusive pattern, real like the rings of Saturn. Full circle, Mutai's in purple, royalty regal. She's killing you with kindness, it's almost illegal. So my people, life is up and down like a seesaw. Calito, fly away high like an eagle. Watch the leaves grow. Once my flow is flawless, then it's finito.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you. Good to see you today.
Good to see you too.
Welcome to the show. We are live here on Shifting Your Mindset with Mutsa, and it's a show where there is nothing but inspiration, love, and light. It's unfiltered conversations. I know you were a bit nervous. You were like, "Oh my God, what am I going to?"
Oh yes, I was.
What are you going to ask? It's completely relaxed. Be as relaxed as possible. And, you know, if anything is, you don't feel like answering any questions, feel free, absolutely fine to plead the Fifth Amendment. Show is nothing other than inspiration. You know, we're there to inspire each other, healing, move from trauma to healing, share real life experiences and all of that. So it's all about love, it's all about inspiration, it's all about getting those positive vibes out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you can just introduce yourself, please. And if you have any people that you want to share the link with, they can tune in via www. I text it to you.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you want to start the show by just introducing yourself, please.
Right. So, my name is Presencia. What else can I say about myself? I find it easier when you ask me questions, you know, because my brain freezes.
Okay. All right, then. Where were you born? Where are you from?
All right. I was born in Zimbabwe, from Bulawayo. I speak Ndebele. So I came to the UK when I was 12.
Oh.
I've lived in different places in the UK. London, Eastbourne, Leicester, and now I'm in Wigan.
Oh, wow, amazing stuff. So you came to the UK when you were 12 years old.
Yeah.
What was life like? Because obviously you were old enough to understand what life was like in Zimbabwe, and, you know, also old enough to understand what life was. How was that transition?
It was a long time ago. I think 12 years old, back in those days when I was 12, and 12 now is completely different. So I suppose the transition really was just like, for me, it was just a change of environment and having to speak English all the time. That's all.
Hey,
Yeah.
English is not our first language.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so was it a good transition for you? Was it a good one?
Yeah, it was okay, really. Yeah, I couldn't point anything specific that was either good or bad. Yeah.
Okay, so moving along, you then went to school here, you settled
Yeah.
here, everything was
Yeah.
all good.
Mhm.
Went to uni?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was
I was
how were your uni days?
uni days were fun actually. We're busy with work obviously, but it was fun. I think what made it fun was that me and my sister were in the same class, so we kind of chose the same career. That made it fun because I didn't feel homesick per se. Because a lot of people, when they go to uni, they struggle a lot because they're on their own, they have to make new friends and things like that. So for me, it was quite good.
It's quite good. Nice.
Yeah.
So so you a twin? You and your sister were in the same class. Was it by default? What was it?
Um, uh, we weren't twins. She was older than me,
Mhm.
2 years older, but my mum raised us like twins because it was just the two of us. So we did everything together.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. That must have been such a blessing. So
Yeah.
life seems to have been really, really established for you. Everything was all good. You know, you ticked the boxes that are
Yeah.
required, went to uni, did everything
Yeah.
that you need to do. You were living
That's
life.
right. Yeah.
Let's talk about the challenges because life can't be that perfect.
Of course. Um, I suppose challenges really. Um, my biggest challenge, that I think was the worst one that I went through and still am going through. Um, as you'll notice, I talk about my sister a lot. Um, is that she passed away. So I had to find ways to cope with it. I had to, find myself again. So that was a very big challenge, and for me to come out of that, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about coping with difficult situations. I learned a lot really, and how I
Wow.
can support other people, and how that affects your mental health as well. As much as I'm a mental health nurse, sometimes some experiences you have to actually have walked through it to actually give like a good account of certain things, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right there. I mean, it's funny that you're talking about this because yesterday was actually 11 years, my 11 years anniversary. My brother passed away, and it's so weird. You know, I always have these shows where people think I stage things because
Yeah,
because I don't know, it just happens by
it just
coincidence.
happened. Yeah, it's meant to
Please,
be, I guess.
please, please, please testify that me and you did not talk. Please testify
No,
that.
we did not talk. The only talk we had was me saying, what's it going to be like? I'm
Yeah,
terrified. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So, it's one of those things that I just feel like, I just feel like because of that, it's weird because yesterday was 11 years since my brother passed away. And
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things what people underestimate is the death of a sibling is a
It's
different
not
kind of,
easy.
it's a different kind
Yeah.
of experience. Because in my life, I always thought, I'm going to have my brother. I'm going to always have somebody who is my backbone, my protector. Always have somebody to lean on when things are
Yeah.
hard, somebody to inspire me. Because all
Yeah.
the things that I achieved in life were driven by my brother's advice. You know, he would lead me, guide me when I'm going astray. You know, he had so much. So let's explain that grief.
Yeah.
Let's go through the process if you don't mind. I get it because it's 11 years and it's still tough. And if it's tough, we can divert. And this show is dedicated to anybody that lost someone, because there's a lot of grief, especially during COVID. We faced a lot of bereavement.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is where we're coming together to say, you know what, we want to heal.
We want to heal, absolutely. To start with, it was a very traumatic experience because we were together when it actually happened, and I had to do CPR and things like that. So I went through a shock. So you're in shock and you're basically like just there. It's like there's nothing there, right? And you go through a phase where you actually realize that, oh my God, this happened. And then I went through a phase where, I don't remember a certain period of time, like from when she passed until maybe 6 months after that, because I was literally like so broken, because when she passed, it was like I lost myself, because without her, it wasn't. I felt like I wasn't whole. So it wasn't just a loss. It was like, a part of me being ripped apart. So from there, I had to find a way to come out of that, because as much as it does hurt, but the reality of things is that life does have to move on, and you have to work. And if she were alive, she wouldn't want me just like so depressed and things like that. So that's another issue about depression. It's something that's actually there and it's real, where you get to a point where you're withdrawing from everybody else because you're trying to make sense of what it is you're going through, you know what I mean? And it's a really dark hole.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of have to find it somewhere. You have to find it somewhere, and then you become so comfortable in your own misery.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, but you have to find it, somewhere, just to have that courage to change that. And because it's got to happen, and change is scary. But you find it somewhere. So that's where I found things that are helpful. That's where I learned, like things I don't like. It's like you learn a lot of things about yourself.
Yeah.
So and then I found ways that help, and I'm using those now. And it's still a journey. I don't think it's a journey that will end per se. I think it gets better with time. But they say about the stages of grief, I think they come and go. It just depends. Everyone's different, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody's different. And I can still feel it. How long ago did this happen?
2 years ago.
It's still hard. Yeah. It's still fresh. So do you mind if I just ask a little bit of some details? Because you say you had to actually give her CPR and you were with her. Like, was it sudden? Was it something you were not expecting?
I'd gone for Christmas, right? And we used to live together in Leicester. So she decided to get married and make me plan her wedding, baby shower, and everything. And then she left me in Leicester and moved to Scotland. So I'd gone to Scotland to spend Christmas with her.
Yeah.
And we woke up on the 23rd. So she was like the motherly type. She cooked. She had 2 kids at the time. One was 2 and one was 3 months. And she cooked breakfast. We ate. And she said she was going to have a shower. So she gives me the little one and she said, and I call out until this. So that was like, if he cries, just like soothe him. And she turned around and that was it. And she was gone.
She turned around. Did she collapse?
She turned around yeah.
Oh, and she just collapsed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you can imagine the trauma. It was like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Terrible. Yeah.
So at this point, even the kids are there, right?
Yeah, the kids are there, you know.
And you're screaming hysterical. Was there any other person in the house as well?
No, it was just 2 of us.
I'm sorry, darling.
Yeah, so that was the biggest challenge, and you know, it's the biggest thing. And I think, you know, I don't think there's anything worse in my life that I've been through. I think that's the hardest.
And this is somebody that was like a twin, somebody you did everything with, somebody that was your rider, somebody that was your reason, and you have to watch their life. There's stages of grief, right? And I want us to talk. Do you believe there are those 5 stages of grief? Have you gone through that process, or think there's no stage? What do you think?
Personally, I think there's no stage. I think, or maybe there is. I suppose I'm half and half, because they say about anger. I suppose denial, yes. But anger, no, I didn't feel that. Or maybe it depends on the circumstances and maybe who passed away. Because some people do feel anger, you know, and like anger towards, maybe say for example, in my case, I might think like, why did you go and leave the kids? Or why did you leave us? Or why didn't you wake up? Or maybe I could feel angry with myself and maybe think I didn't do enough. But I think, but then I think because I'm a Christian and I'm a child of God, so I believe that everything in life is by His will, and you know, so if that was meant to happen that day, I couldn't have done anything better or worse, because that's how God wanted it.
And you're saying a very interesting thing, that you are a Christian. And I know sometimes life throws you that did you question the existence of God at this point?
Oh, yes, I did. I did. You know, I thought I was like, if God loves us so much, why make us go through all this pain? I even went to a stage where I thought, if it was His will to take her away, well, why traumatize me at the same time?
Yeah.
Why did it have to be me there? And what about the children and things like that? But faith is another thing that helps people to keep going, and it gives people courage, because you need to have something to believe in as well.
Absolutely.
Which also it comes back to believing in yourself, that you can do it. Yeah.
How did you manage to regain your faith? The fact that there was a lot A lot
I
of
think
after
my
going
mom.
from a phase of questioning God, and it's
Yeah, they tell you you're not the
understandable for
first one
any
and you
human
won't be the
being.
last.
Like honestly,
But they don't realize that
I
it's
felt the same
it,
because when the
situations in
day
life,
my brother passed
well,
away, so
specifically
it was
bereavement, it
like
affects people
they had
differently. And
started my
I think it
final law
depends on the
exams,
relationship
and
you would have had
he had
with
yeah.
that person as well. I think, yeah.
That's absolutely true. And the other thing that I wanted to ask as well is, so your mom started to talk to you about praying and you needed something to believe in, something to give you hope.
No, she prays a lot.
Right. She's a prayer warrior.
So yeah, she's a prayer warrior, and like she believes a lot. So when I was going through those changes and the questioning, so I I spent a lot of time with her. So that's when
That's when
it all came back to me, and I thought, you know what, this is, you know, it's his will, so be it.
let's go back to the process. So you mentioned that for the first 6 months you were numb. You didn't know where you were.
I if you ask me what happened, I do not remember. The funeral, I remember giving a speech. I don't remember anything else.
Really?
Yeah, I think
you don't remember the burial, everything.
I remember the burial, and but there's certain segments, you know, when it's just like patches. Some patches I can't fill in, you know. So I just, you know, go by what I just tell you, obviously. But yeah, so
what do you think was happening at that time?
Honestly, I don't know, and it's a part which, if I do know, my subconscious has decided to repress it.
Right. Wow. So how did you come back? How did you bounce back from that?
It took a long time. I went through a lot of. Started off with I had anxiety. I used to panic. I couldn't sleep. I just like withdrew from everybody. Just basically didn't do anything. I couldn't think. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't nothing, like zero. I couldn't do anything. But then how I bounced back was to sort of, I had to talk to myself as well. Like, you know, yes, it's happened, but you need to move forward. You need to move on and look for things also that make me happy. You know, because everything that made me happy used to involve her. So I had to start everything from scratch. So this is where the change began.
Right.
Yeah. So I thought, I'll take each day as it comes because I couldn't think like a week ahead. It was too much for me to comprehend. So I told myself, I'll take each and every day as a new beginning and as a chance.
And what you've said, what you said, what you said is really, 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 really powerful. It starts within you. It starts inside you. It starts with, you know, with you being at peace. And I think a lot of people don't understand what being at peace is. Are you able to describe how you feel now that you're at peace? Are you able to describe it?
Being at peace also goes together with your thinking, right? So your thoughts as well affect like how you feel. So like my thoughts about the grief, the bereavement, how I thought about what had happened, right? So it was just a way of me kind of accepting that it happened and challenging those thoughts that were veering towards self-doubting, because, you know, like, for example, I can't live, I can't live without her. I can't do anything because she's not there. So I had to change the I cannot to I can. And there are some things that she used to do for me that I thought, oh my God, I can't do it. And to me, it was so real. I thought I couldn't. You see, so it was just that thought process that I dug myself into that hole. That by changing it and saying I can, then I had to build up the courage to do it. So this is where it comes from yourself. So you have to have that courage. You have to face your own demons, because otherwise you won't change. It will just be like a revolving door.
I guess we're all scared to face our own demons, and we're scared to own up. And there's something that you've spoken about, something that you went through. The fact that, you know, at least now you're openly talking about the fact that, you know, you had anxiety, you were you had all these things. How were people responsive? Because obviously, you know, you're a beautiful girl, you've got everything going on, life was good, you know, you ticked all the boxes. Now all of a sudden people are seeing a different state of you. How was that response of people that were around your, people that were your friends, when they saw you at your lowest?
I've lost a lot of friends, because when you're going through that tough time, they're not there. And I'm that type of person. I speak my mind, so maybe that's why. And I have zero tolerance for rubbish. I think what most people would say, which I find very dismissive, and it doesn't validate people's experiences, is when people tell you you're not the only one, and you're not the first one, you're not the last one. You need to buckle up and move on. Everybody else buckles up and moves on. A lot of people have gone through these stages. How do you think they live out there? How do you know? And that just worsens what what you're going through. Imagine if you're like depressed and you're down, and someone's saying all those things. That it's like deflating. You know, so if, say, you were trying your hardest, you're trying so hard, in your mind you're trying, you're doing your best, and then you get words like that, you end up feeling defeated. So you have to find a way to block all those things out. And how I do that is basically, I've got this thing I call no negativity zone.
Okay, so, share that with us.
So anything that gives negativity or brings negativity to me, I remove myself from it.
Okay.
So I have to be very careful, because it was 2 years ago. It's still fresh. I'm still sore. So I don't want anything, I want to surround myself around people who are encouraging, people who are building, people, I like ambition, people who are also supportive and caring, people who want to inspire others like yourself, and also people who acknowledge that bereavement is also something that people just think people can just snap out of it, and forget that there's actually a mental health part of that as well, because depression, anxiety, and all those other mental health issues, it's quite difficult to snap out of it, especially, you know, I think they're the same because they work together, depression and anxiety.
Yeah, okay. Now I want to come into that as well. You are amazing. You know what I mean? And you're amazing that you are sharing your story, because it's hard. It's so hard to sit down and explain. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, yours is 2 years, mine is 11 years, and 11 years later, like I still dream of my brother. I still, and you went to uni together, our messages. I still play. Wow. Oh my God.
I know.
So now, as a mental health nurse, when you were the one on the other end, you were the one now that needed to be. How was that reversing the roles?
I think it got me to, I understand more now when people say, like when they say they're depressed, it's not just I'm having a downer. It's a proper depression where you can't get out of bed, and people don't understand what that means. You can't get out of bed. They think you're just maybe like, oh, just get out, man. Why are you just like making it such a big issue? You just have to get up and go, but it's not like that.
Explain to us, what is it like?
It's like you've no motivation. It's just sorrow. Just
sadistic. Do you feel more sad?
Beyond sad. Some people, this is how some people become suicidal. Depression can lead people to suicidality.
Right.
They get pushed to a point where the feelings of hopelessness and helplessness get to a point where they don't see anything protective. There's no protective factors there, like the positive things. That's why you find people saying, like, I'm better off dead, or people will be better off without me. I don't God mind didn't get to that point, but if left untreated, or if you don't look after yourself, things really can get so bad.
Yeah. And I guess for me as well, people sometimes always look on the outward, and they see somebody with their life together, somebody with their big house, the millions, the billions, and they think, why is this person feeling like that? Clearly this person must be, you know what I mean, doesn't appreciate life.
Yeah.
What message, how can you educate people around that? Because I think a lot of people, regardless of whether Africa or Europe, it's all the same. I think a lot of people sometimes find it hard to grasp the aspect of mental health, the aspect of depression, the aspect of anxiety. And now you are here as an expert by experience. You're an expert by your experience, and as well, you have the knowledge. You went to uni for it. That's what you do. That's what you advocate. That's what you stand for. How can you educate us around? Let's start with anxiety first, because anxiety is quite common, but a lot of people don't actually realize that it's anxiety, but it's quite common. I have a lot of anxiety, like it's crazy. I can think of things that are not even happening, and I start getting panic attacks, and because I worry a lot. I'm a person that worries a lot. So can you explain a bit more? I've just explained a glimpse of how I feel as a person, but can you explain a glimpse like some more information what anxiety is and what we can do to cope.
Right. So I'll just tell you my understanding of it. I'm sure there's better mental health nurses that who can say it in better ways. But anxiety, I think it's basically worry. Yeah. You have these uncontrollable worry thoughts. Sometimes can be very intrusive. You have fear of uncertainty, right? There's different types of thinking styles, like black and white thinking, catastrophizing, what's that? Oh, there's loads. My brain just got dead. All those unhelpful thoughts.
Basically, it comes from overthinking.
It's overthinking
and worrying.
Overthinking,
Which
worrying.
explains it, because I'm a warrior. And I overthink things, like, I'm always told that, hey, your brain is grade 360. Okay, got it.
And you worry a lot because you struggle with that fear of uncertainty. That's why you worry, what if that, what this, see? And then when anxiety becomes very uncontrollable, then that's when you have panic attacks.
Right.
And with panic attacks, they feel so like the physical symptoms of it. Like, some people would say they can feel their throat closing, they feel like they're choking, that sense of they're gonna die, they feel dizzy. So panic attacks is like the very the extreme part of anxiety.
Right. Wow. And so how do you what would you recommend the coping mechanisms?
Firstly, I think the cognitive approach to things. Sometimes it's good not to medicalize everything. Of course, the medications is there to help, but medication can only take you to a certain point. You have to do all the hard work.
Yeah.
So during that anxiety, like worrying and thinking too much, so is to look at your own way of thinking, be your own, what they call it, a detective of your own thoughts, to challenge your own
fate. Yeah.
To challenge your own thoughts. And remember when I said about, it's just gone, about it coming from within.
Yeah.
So you have to learn yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Challenge your own thoughts. So when you find yourself, say, for example, catastrophizing, challenge how real that thought is. Is it really a reality? Is that really what's going to happen, or am I just thinking too much?
Okay.
Why don't I try to look at this in a different way? Of what would my friend say about this, or how would my friend advise me to address this situation?
Yeah, and I guess there's a lot of aspect as well around. Do you need to surround yourself with people that understand what you have, or you can? It's just something that you can cope on your own and just get by.
No, I think it's important to have people that support you. It's important to have people who understand what you're going through. Sometimes it's good to have a support network, because it gets really hard sometimes. You do need other people.
And then we'll talk about depression, then take a quick break, and then we come back and move into the inspirational part, the message that you want to send out there after everything you've gone through. What about depression? How do you describe that?
Gosh, depression. It's extreme sadness, the uncontrollable crying, the sleepless nights. You want to sleep, but your brain is active. That, you know, feeling helpless and hopeless. It's just sad, dark and grey.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's just a sad feeling. And what are the coping mechanisms for depression?
Oh, sorry, my thing is gone off.
Okay.
Oh gosh. Sorry, my battery went dead.
Okay.
There.
All right then. And so what are the coping mechanisms for depression?
I think we all identify what works for us because not everything works for other people. So for me, it's exercise. When I can, I just go for a walk. It doesn't have to be some like extreme exercise. Going for a walk, maybe calling a friend, spending time with loved ones. Some people may like things like art. Some people like music. Some people like, say, doing voluntary work. So everybody has a coping mechanism. Is like something positive, something that will make things better for you. Anything that will help you come out of that sadness. Talking about it.
Right.
I think from top of my head, that's what I can think of. But I'm sure there's a lot more.
There's a lot more, and I do agree with you. Is talking about it, but I guess the biggest challenge is finding who to talk to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's the biggest challenge because you have to be really careful. I just want to ask one question because I know when we come back, we're moving into your inspirational message to people out there, people that are grieving. As somebody that has gone through mental health yourself and being a mental health nurse, were people at work receptive? Were they supportive? You know what I mean? Did it change the dynamics of saying, oh my God, she's meant to be a helper, but then, she's...
No.
Good.
The people I work with are they're very nice people. They understand what I've went through, and they don't treat me any different. Instead, they support me. And also, mental health carries a stigma as well. People don't really want to talk about it. But for me, when I was going through that bereavement issue, I actually did go for counseling because it's important as well to have professional help about these things, because it did help. Counseling did help me. Maybe that's why I can actually talk about it now, because before I couldn't.
and that's the healing process, and that's the kind of things we need to give in, because I think when people talk about counseling and stuff like that, I think like you're saying, there's some sort of stigma that people find it really difficult to go for counseling or to speak to somebody because they think, oh my God, it means, I can't do anything in life because I need somebody else to help me. But we're not built like that as people.
No, you have to accept. This is the coming from within you again. You have to accept that you need help. You have to be in a position that I'm going to accept help. You have to accept that, yes, it's wrong. This is not right. And something has to change. And when you do go for whatever support you've chosen to go for, you have to have an open mind.
Yeah, you have to definitely have an open mind, and again, it's that inner circle. What do you think causes this stigma of mental health? What do you think it is? What is it about people, when we talk about mental health, or when you say, you know, you have anxiety or depression? What is it? Why do you think there's that stigma around that?
But well, I think it's partly that, you see, mental anxiety is not something you can physically say, oh yeah, that's anxiety. It's not like a broken leg.
Right.
And you said, yeah.
Or that you can see, it's because it's not tangible.
Yeah, so I think it's, people don't see mental health difficulties in the same light as physical health difficulties.
Right.
People would empathize more with someone with a physical health difficulty than a mental health difficulty. That's why we have days like mental health awareness days, where people are educated about how people do actually struggle with mental health difficulties, and that it is something that's actually out there that people are having difficulties with. And sometimes it's a cultural thing, isn't it? People in different cultures and how mental health is perceived in those specific cultures.
Yeah, definitely. So I think for me, I think as well, there's I don't know about you, but I've always thought that sometimes when we talk about these kind of issues, or when we address that, oh my God, you know, I'm feeling depressed and all of that, you're deemed as a weak person. You're deemed,
of course, yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
That is incapable. Like, this person, you know,
yeah,
is going to be a burden to us because they
Yeah.
can't. But they don't. People don't actually understand that it's a phase. That if somebody is supported after that, they will become like a hurricane, because they have so much strength within them.
Exactly.
And then other people who also suppress it in you know, because of the stigma. There are other people that suffer from mental health but won't accept, and they will do everything they can to pretend like they're actually normal, they're actually okay. But when you look at their behavior, their cognitive behavior and how they act, some of them like isolation, some of them like abrupt, some of them are destructive in the sense that, you know, they then go out and do bad things out there. Some of them have
turn to substances.
And some of them have a certain part of the cognitive emotional development that's cracked up. Some of them start cheating, you know what I mean? Start cheating. Some of them start stealing. Some of them start gossiping. All of these things, I always feel like whenever you're as a person, you are in a position where you're being judgmental, or you think, oh, this person is weak, there's always something inside you as well that needs to be addressed. And in trying to suppress mental health, a lot of people are turning to a lot of things, and social media is one of them. Like,
a lot happens in social media. It's just social media is something different nowadays than it was when I was growing up, when I was younger. Whatever difficult time you're going through, you're not on your own. There's always someone out there to help. And it's important to speak out, because if you don't speak out or speak up, no one will know that you're struggling or you're going through a difficult time, because most of us are very good at looking good outside, but yet we're crumbling inside. So if you don't speak up and you don't seek help, then that's when you're going to feel alone and you struggle more. And also, it's okay not to be okay. That's the first step of accepting that things aren't right. I need to do something. There's nothing wrong about that. Just because you're struggling with something doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're a lesser person than anybody else. It just means that at that time you're struggling, and all you need is just some help, just to get up and go again. And also that you can do it. Just have to believe in yourself. And like I said before, every day we get a chance, and with that chance we make a choice, right? You get the courage to then make that change, and then that way you build your own resilience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And this is you now on the other side of when
still walking though, still walking through that.
But you're walking really good. You're walking really good, and the fact that you can come here, I always like these real life experiences because it's real. It's not staged. It's not a movie.
That's it.
It's really happening, and because it's really happening, and we're talking about it like how we're talking about it.
Yeah.
It just gives me a sense of hope, because when you say it's okay to not be okay, that hit hurts, because you always feel like you have to be okay in the world that
it's okay not to be okay, because that's how we set ourselves up to fail, because we're the worst criticisms of ourselves, because we always expect, we have high expectations. So if you're thinking you're not okay, and you're like, no, I should be stronger than this, I must do this, that's when things get more challenging and more difficult. So it's okay not to be okay. Take each day as it comes.
And I guess, like what you said, it comes from within. There's something about us living the life that we want to live. Because I think there's a lot of, sometimes we live the life that we think we're expected to live instead of living the life that we want to live. That leads to a lot of anxiety and depression as well.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of factors that that cause anxiety, really, because sometimes it depends, family, there's pressure, isn't there? Sometimes, like, say, I'm thinking of an example, like, say you're the oldest sibling and there's younger siblings, and you're supposed to be strong, you're supposed to look after the young ones, so you feel like you can't be depressed because you have to look after the young ones. You have to this, you have to that. So that puts a lot of pressure on you, and then you'd be so anxious now because you've got a lot of what ifs and catastrophizing and fear of uncertainty and all those things that come with anxiety. Absolutely.
I know. I always feel the pressure. Because it's been absolutely amazing. Unless there's something else you want to share. But it's been absolutely amazing having you on the show, and you are amazing, baby girl. Like, keep
for having me.
Keep shining, keep advocating, keep sharing your story, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that were listening in today that have picked up a lot, and because there's a lot of grieving. We're still grieving, even
absolutely. It's like it's an infinite road.
Exactly. Especially after COVID, we are all still grieving in so many ways. A lot of things have happened. We just need to be kind and love.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So thank you so much, darling. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again on the show. You have been amazing.
Thank you for having me.
All right, then. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. That's that, ladies and gentlemen. That was it was both emotional but inspirational. And, the show got me thinking, because it was so funny, because it was my brother's 11-year anniversary yesterday, and sometimes when you speak to people and you tell them, this is what I am going through, sometimes when you speak to people and you say, I'm still hurting, I'm still feeling like this, grief is very funny in how it was explained. It's very funny, and we need to be able to support each other, because people grieve in different ways. We had a phenomenal story today. The way I grieve, she watched her sister, her best friend, die in front of her. She even performed CPR in trying to resuscitate, and it was hard. It was hard. She explained the fact that, you know, she went from a phase of first 6 months after that trauma, she did not know what was going on. She was numb. She doesn't recall the first 6 months after that trauma. But today, 2 years later, here she is sitting down with us, the shifters, and sharing her phenomenal story. She's amazing. And this is hope to somebody right now that is in that place where they feel numb, where they feel like it's not going to end, where they feel like it can't end, where they feel like it's not happening, it's not moving, nothing is happening, you know, the pain is too much. This is hope, and this is what we do on this show. We move from trauma to healing. We turn those stories that are meant to break us, the things that were formed, the weapons that were formed against us, we use them. We use them to motivate, to inspire, to make it better. We turn our pain into inspiration. If there's one thing I know is for a fact, and I've also used that type of mechanism where I always turn my pain into inspiration. You know, I always try and do the opposite reaction, and for me that works. But you have to find what works for you. You have to find what works for you to maintain that sanity, to maintain that ground. Because in that process of grief, she also spoke about the fact that she also had that mental breakdown. And mental breakdowns are so easy to happen, you know. And sometimes we have mental breakdowns, but we don't want to accept that we're having mental breakdowns and react. We react in certain ways where we act in a different kind of way. We never see any inspiration to life. We never see any hope to life. We never see anything good. We never see anything positive, because we are suppressing that mental healing. We need to heal mentally. Mental health is a very big part that forms who we are as individuals, that forms who we are as people. We need to look after ourselves. We need to look after each other. Be kind. Be kind. Just think the words that you're saying, the impact they have on the next person, because you don't know what battles people are fighting. And www.shiftingyourmindset.co.uk, sending you so much love and light. Mutsa.